a new virus that has a 33% kill rate and it's more or as transmissible than the current one that's going around? The biggest concern here for me is that Wuhan scientists are researching a virus that can potentially kill 1/3 of people on planet Earth. Have your bug out bags packed, guys. Okay, guys, so I want to alleviate any of your fears. If you're just coming upon this story right now, you need to understand that the media is somewhat blowing this out of proportion, but I also think it's very significant what is going on, and we need to talk about why is it that they are doing more research. I mean, we know why the gain of function thing, and we know why they do it so that they can quickly develop more prophylactics in the case that there is an outbreak. But doesn't it kind of defeat the purpose if in making the cure you release the disease? Anyways, so what is NeoCOV? What you need to know is that NeoCOV is not something that can circulate in humans. Now, they're saying it's one mutation away from being able to jump to humans. I do think, but there's some kind of foreshadowing going on here. The virus cannot bind to the ACE2 receptors in humans right now. It can bind to the ACE2 receptors in bats. The idea is, with one more mutation, it may be able to plug itself in to our cells, and then it's game over. Now, it's more transmissible in bats. Does that mean that it's going to be more transmissible in humans? A lot of this is purely speculative and theoretical with respect to the kill rate. They're comparing it to MERS. If you don't know, Middle East respiratory syndrome has a very high fatality rate, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 35%. In the past, I heard 20%. Now they're saying it's 33%. Now, to put that in perspective, okay, the last virus that we've endured here has had a kill rate of about 1 to 3%, and that has been in predominantly the aging populations and people with a lot of other health complications. If you take a 33% kill rate, if that was to ever be unleashed, could you imagine the devastation that that would have on our economy and just on our world in general? That's when you're going to see voluntary lockdowns. If something like this actually got out and was as transmissible as Omicron, there's going to be a whole lot of people not going to work. And all those couriers and postal workers and truckers who I referred to as soldiers in the last video, they're going to be revered as true soldiers if something like that breaks out. Some people were saying, don't call them soldiers, they were just doing their job. If something like this breaks out, it's going to be undeniable, okay, when everybody's locked down again, that the couriers are the ones who are going to keep the supply chain up and running. 72 hours, 3 meals to anarchy. Without those people delivering the products so that we can all stay at home and watch Netflix and play video games and buy Bitcoin and all these other alt shit coins, that's the only way it happens. So let's just hope that this doesn't happen. But what has me somewhat suspicious about this is, number one, it became a news story, and this was from a paper that was released from some Chinese researchers, and the media caught wind of it, and they basically have just taken the most sensationalist bits of it, ignoring the fact that this is not currently present in humans. Any suggestions that it might be are purely theoretical, and this is basically just one of those things that they do for clicks. But the thing that concerns me about this is, why are they doing this research in the first place in light of what has happened recently? Have we not learned anything? Now, I know there has been no consensus on the origins of the current thing, in light of the fact that there's a lot to suggest that, well, perhaps the origin wasn't so natural. So, why are they risking rolling the dice with MERS? Now, I don't know enough, because I'm not a virologist, to speak on recombinomics and whether or not this virus can merge with another strain of COVID, which is more transmissible and present in humans, and if that is what's going to cause this species jump. We know that these coronaviruses tend to jump species, and we know that in the last 20 years, 3 of the most deadly coronaviruses have emerged. So we can only expect that there's going to be a more deadly one. And of course, Big Daddy Bill Gates claims that there's going to be a bigger one in the not so distant future. I'm not saying that he's a prophet or that he's a fortune teller, but he sure seems to be on the mark lately. So I'm just going to briefly read an article here from the mainstream media talking about what it is. As per Business Insider, NeoCOV is a virus connected to the Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS-CoV. 1 in 3 people infected could die from NeoCOV, even though it's not present in humans yet. The virus was first found in a bat population and has been known to spread among animals. And because of that species jump, there's concern here. The NeoCOV has traits from both MERS-CoV and COVID-19 causing SARS-CoV-2. Driving the news, a new study published on preprint and has not been peer-reviewed, that's an important thing to remember, has found that antibodies that target both SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19, and MERS-CoV can't stop NeoCOV, meaning that guess what? If this thing breaks out, we're going to have to go through the whole operation, warp speed, people not wanting to do the thing, global resistance and protests and all the rest all over again. However, I think that if you put a fatality rate on this anywhere north of 10%, people are going to be fighting over the intervention. Trust me, mark my words, if there was a virus that was to come out that had a plus 10%, yes, you're going to have people that are going to still refuse to take it, but it's going to be a much, much, much smaller group. When you start seeing people dropping like flies around you, there's going to be a mad scramble to get whatever sort of medical intervention presents itself. Our studies have shown, this is from the Business Insider now, listen to the language. Our studies have shown that the current COVID-19 vaccinations are inadequate to protect humans from the eventuality of an infection caused by this virus. They use the word eventuality. Researchers said about the virus according to Business Insider. Eventuality. I don't like that word when it comes to a 33% kill rate. I mean, that is world-ending stuff. That is seriously something which would plunge the world into complete chaos if it was able to get out and if there was no means to counteract it. Now, I'm not saying there wouldn't be one developed, and perhaps they'd be able to do it even faster and in a way which was able to get ahead of it, but life would change in a much bigger way than it's already changed. I'll tell you that right now. Remember, NeoCOV is not new. It was first discovered in 2012 and 2015 in the Middle Eastern countries, and it has striking similarities to SARS-CoV-2, the novel coronavirus, in humans. I don't know what the implication might be here. Maybe the SARS-CoV-2 came from this, but I don't know. I don't know anything about this, guys. Okay, I'm sure Dr. John Campbell is going to come out, break down all the specifics and the details for us and shed some light on this issue, hopefully. Whether the virus detected in the study will pose a risk for humans will require further study, the World Health Organization told Russian news agency. The virus is reportedly one mutation away from being a major threat to humans, so we better study it some more in a lab. I just hope that when they're studying this virus in the lab, that they're taking the necessary precautions, because the last thing we need is for something like this to, say, leak out onto the world. So what strikes me as odd with all of this is that there still seems to be this blackout on whether or not the research that is being done over there is being done in a way which is safe. Now, I truly hope that since this whole thing, that security measures and safety measures have been taken up a notch there. Because if something like this were to get out, again, it would mean the end of the world as we know it, to be brutally honest, if they could not get ahead of it. And we know that we would be constantly plagued. I mean, if we started at a 33% fatality rate and it became less fatal from there on in with increasing variants and stuff like that and became more transmissible, kind of like this one did, just think about that. It's starting at 30%. So even 5 years, 10 years into it, if you got that down to like 10% kill rate, I mean, that's still going to wipe out a lot of people, especially after you have variant after variant. And we know that you're going to need booster after booster. So my recommendation is you might want to reconsider your investments in various stocks which deliver various interventions, because if this ain't a signal as to what's to come, I don't know what is, guys. Stay prepped, stay ready. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.